Tetzel selling indulgences. About the time that Martin Luther began to study the New Testament and was amazed at its simplicity, when he was grasping the great Bible truth of justification by faith, he encountered Tetzel. The effect was to convince him the more that great errors had gradually crept into the faith and spirit of the church. Tetzel was selling indulgences under the Pope's authority. The proceeds were to be used in completing St. Peter's Cathedral at Rome. Tetzel may or may not have exceeded his authority, but the record is that he preached not the merit of Christ's sacrifice, but the power of the Pope and of himself his agent, saying, "You have friends in purgatory, suffering there for various sins. The Pope has the power to release them. I am his agent. Those who donate to this fund drop their money into this box, assured that the moment they do so, their friends will be released from purgatorial suffering." Catholic though he still was, and a believer in purgatory, Luther could not tolerate such a commercial proposition as that the grace of God should be purchased with money. He denounced Tetzel vigorously. So far as we are aware, the public sale of indulgences has been stopped in most civilized lands, but until recently in Mexico, many church tables were spread with indulgences, specifying various sins and crimes and bearing fixed prices. Protestants and some Catholics have assumed that these indulgences are permits to sin. The Church of Rome, however, claims that they never issue permits to commit sin, but merely so much remission of purgatorial suffering. Amongst Bible students today, there seems to be a growing conviction that the Bible teaches that there is no consciousness in death, that the awakening moment in the resurrection morning will connect up with the dying thoughts. The proof texts for purgatory, they apply to saints in this life, to the world's stripes in the next age, and to the time of trouble. The Holy Inquisition. Catholics and Protestants are inclined to call the doings of the Inquisition very unholy. Facing the facts charitably, we remember that it belonged to a less favored day. With enlightenment, thank God, has come a keener sense of the justice and love which Jesus inculcated. Love your enemies. Do good to them that hate you and persecute you, and say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. The law given Israel at Mount Sinai expressed merely justice in its command. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. How seriously indeed portions of God's word were overlooked in the persecutions of the Inquisition. Not only was there no love nor sympathy, but justice in every sense of the word was violated. Thank God for the light of a better day. There is in the human heart a treacherous disposition to do evil, if only an excuse for it can be found. As the Jews found an excuse for crucifying Jesus, stoning St. Stephen, etc., so the inquisitors found an excuse for their persecutions. Like Saul of Tarsus, they thought they did God service. Matters have changed greatly, but persecution is still practiced along different lines: ostracism, slander, boycotting. The Bible refers to this saying, "Your brethren which cast you out said, The Lord be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed." The mob spirit, the lynching spirit, is but a less legal form of the Holy Inquisition. A Chicago Methodist Episcopal minister, angered at Professor Parson, is quoted by the Indianapolis News and the New York Tribune as saying, "If I had the power, I would skin that man, salt his hide, and tack it on a barn door." The secular editor of the News says, "If such a violent outbreak was made by one who preaches the gospel of peace, what may we not expect from the sons of Belial?" Evidences multiply that the mob spirit, the Inquisition spirit, is growing. All should be on guard. afraid, be not afraid, my help is nigh. Be not afraid, be not afraid, my help is nigh. Be not afraid.